What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, Venmo, and the Patreon family. Now I'm back with my original segment, Boxingego's First Look, a tale of the tape series where I give you guys a sneak peek, a preview of the fight before the fight. Now, Saturday, October 28th, this Saturday, Principality Stadium in Cardiff, Wales. You have Anthony Joshua, IBF, WBA heavyweight champion of the world, and he's taking on Carlos Takam. Now, if you follow the heavyweight division or boxing, you'll know this was not initially the opponent when it was first announced. Initially, Joshua was supposed to defend against the #1 mandatory, Kubrat Pulev. But about 2 weeks before the fight was to happen, Kubrat Pulev and his team reached out to Team Joshua stating they had some kind of injury, a shoulder injury, and he was not fit for competition. So he pulled out, and they just went down the list, and the second ranking guy underneath Kubrat Pulev that was available, number 3 ranked, Carlos Takam. He got the call. Now, according to Eddie Hearn, he says they feared this, so they told Team Takam, be on standby, like a doctor, be on call, be waiting for the call, because if anything happens with the Pulev fight, you're up next, right? And according to Eddie Hearn, that's what was agreed upon, and Takam had been training and, you know, monitoring his weight, sparring, whatever he was doing for the call. They got the call and they were ecstatic. So I'm interested in this particular fight. You can't fault Joshua. He's going through the order of operations. He was supposed to fight Klitschko, and he was down to fight Klitschko, which would have been another big heavyweight fight. The first fight was earlier this year. It was a great fight. They were talking about bringing Joshua to the States, had it all mapped out. A Las Vegas fight for Joshua's American debut, and Klitschko announced to the world that he had had enough. He was going to call it a career, and he was retiring from the sport of boxing at age 41. So Joshua's just going through the order of business. They were actually paying Kubrat Pulev step-aside money in order to make the Klitschko fight, but since Klitschko retired, then they were just going to fight him, and then he allegedly gets injured, so they just go down the list to Carlos Takam. Now, Carlos Takam, he's tough, he's pretty durable. He has been stopped before by Olympic gold medalist Russian Alexander Povetkin. He did get stopped, but he's been in there with other people like Mike Perez, Cuban, who dropped down to cruiserweight, but he was a heavyweight. Been in there with Joseph Parker, who's currently a champion. He lost a decision to Joseph Parker. So Carlos Takam, he's been ranked for a while. He's a solid name. Even Joshua himself says it may take 8 to 10 rounds, knowing that Joshua has all knockouts. He says it may take 8 to 10 rounds because, in Joshua's words, Carlos Takam has a head like a block of cement. So he doesn't expect Carlos Takam to go easy. There's a big height disparity, which we'll get into when we get into the tale of the tape. But again, you can't fault Joshua for this. I think it's good that to close the year after the Klitschko, 90,000 people in attendance, he's selling out another stadium, 70,000 plus people in this particular one at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff. This shows Joshua's star power, and I like the fact that at the end of the year he's finishing boxing by taking another fight, taking care of his mandatory, so when he starts 2018 he should be clear. Now, he had another mandatory within the WBA. It was Luis King Kong Ortiz, but Luis Ortiz was supposed to fight Deontay Wilder, and he tested positive for banned substances, and that fight was canceled. The WBA also gave Team Ortiz an ultimatum and says you have to open your B sample and it has to be clean, otherwise we're dropping you from the rankings. That wasn't done within the time frame, so the WBA has since dropped Luis King Kong Ortiz from the ranking. So Joshua, to my understanding, his mandatory within the WBA, or at least the dangerous mandatory of Luis Ortiz, that's no longer an issue because he has since been dropped for the rankings for failing, even though it wasn't within the WBA, it was with the WBC's clean boxing program, but they both use VADA. So Joshua, if he gets past Carlos Takam, then he could look towards the bigger fights in the division. Maybe a unification with Deontay Wilder that we all should want to see. A unification with Joseph Parker, who's the newer champion. He's even talked about fighting Tyson Fury despite Tyson Fury's weight. That would be a big domestic fight if Tyson Fury can get into fight form. Now let's take a look at the tail of the tape. Anthony Joshua, aka AJ Boxing, has a perfect, unblemished record. He's 19-0, all knockouts. In 19 fights, he's knocked out 19 opponents. Obviously, the biggest name on his resume was his very last fight, which he fought earlier this year. It was on every major network. Over in the UK, Sky Sports. In America, it was on Showtime, the live, and they had a replay on HBO. So his star power is growing, and obviously the Klitschko win and stoppage victory was a big one, because Klitschko had lost. He was coming off a loss to Tyson Fury, but he hadn't been stopped in probably about 9 years or so. So Joshua stayed perfect. However, he was tested by Klitschko, if you watch that fight. Now, Carlos Takam has a record of 35-3-1. Again, he has been stopped. Alexander Povetkin, he also lost to Joseph Parker. I believe his draw was with Mike Perez. So he definitely has a sturdy resume. The age advantage goes to Joshua. He's the younger fighter, just turned 28, I believe, in October. Carlos Takam is 36 years old, definitely a veteran. Now, this is a big one. The height advantage clearly goes to Joshua, and I'm sure you'll see that upon the face-offs. I haven't really seen the two next to each other because it was a late replacement, a late sub. But Joshua is listed at 6 foot 6 inches tall. Carlos Takam is only 6 foot 1.5 inches. So a major height discrepancy between the two of them. And we'll see what Carlos Takam brings to the table. Maybe he can do like Mike Tyson, who is relatively short compared to most of his opponents, and create like a moving target and create problems, just because this will be the first time Joshua has fought someone that's around this height with the experience of a Carlos Takam at least. His last opponent, Klitschko, was about his height, 6'6", and also very big. Now, this fight is taking place at the heavyweight division, so they can weigh whatever. Both guys will be probably 220, 240-ish. I think Eddie Hearn said that Joshua plans to come on lighter than he did. He came in extremely heavy for the Klitschko fight, so I think he's kind of getting that settled down and tapering down to a lower weight. Now, the reach advantage goes to the younger, taller fighter, Anthony Joshua. He has an 82-inch reach, and Carlos Takam has an 80.5-inch reach. Now, let me know what you guys think. Again, you can't hold anything against Joshua. He's just going through the next order of business, but his star power is definitely apparent, and this should satisfy his mandatory, at least with the IBF side, and hopefully open up the floodgates should he win to a bigger fight. But we'll see if Carlos Takam can make it interesting and use his experience and his height to create problems for Anthony Joshua. Joshua, it sounds like he's going in expecting Carlos Takam to be durable. He said, again, he had a head like a block of cement. So we'll see what this fight would unfold. The other thing you have to give credit to for both fighters, especially Joshua, because he's the champion and he's training the whole majority of the time. He's training for Kubrat Pulev, and then now at the last minute he's getting a switch. So sometimes little idiosyncrasies and nuances like that can maybe create some issue, because you were training 8-10 weeks for a certain style, a certain height, a certain guy, and you're no longer fighting him. Let me know what you guys think. Joshua should clearly be the favorite here, but we'll see. Let me know if you're picking Carlos Takam, if you're picking Joshua. Drop all that in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.